Folks, welcome to this week's Bible study and current events, and you're in for a real special treat today. Not me. I'm just same old treat. But anyway, as always, we're going to do current events. But the next hour, next presentation, Phil's going to do something that you're going to want to pay attention to. It can literally change your lives. I mean, big time change your lives. More than anything you've ever been involved in for your life as far as earthly business goes on. Now, we're not taking phone calls this hour or the next hour, but after Phil does his presentation, he'll open the lines up for questions. I'm sure we're going to have a bunch of them. I know I will. So welcome again this week, and let's get started with a few verses of the book of Proverbs 16, and we'll get into current events. There's so much happening, so many things going on in the world today, so much confusion and chaos and insanity. I'm so sick of hearing about Trump and impeachment and Biden, and it's on and on and on and on and on. And I wonder what that smoke screen is all about. What are they doing behind the scenes we don't see? It's a smoke screen. Something going on there. I mean, I'm sure there is, but what would it be? But the book of Proverbs 16 says, verse 1, the preparation of the heart in man, and the answer of the tongue is from the Lord. All the ways of man are clean in his own eyes. Mm-hmm. Ain't that the truth? Mm-hmm. Yep. But the Lord weigheth the spirits. Commit thy works unto the Lord, and thy thoughts shall be established. I'll make a comment here very quickly. How many know believers that are back and forth, one day up, one day down, one day full of faith, next day full of doubt? You ever done people like that? Mm-hmm. Commit yourself unto the Lord, and He'll take care of those problems. Mm-hmm. But you see, we think we commit, we halfway go, and then back up and try to do it ourselves again, don't we? Anybody guilty of that side me?
Yeah. Yep.
When you commit it to the Lord, He'll take care of the thoughts. But when you try to do it yourself and one day and give it to Him the next day, that doesn't work. That's a double-minded man. The Lord hath made all things for Himself. Yea, even the wicked for the day of evil. Mm-hmm. Payday's coming.
Well, there's a verse in Psalm 37 that says, Delight thyself.
Yes.
Delight thyself also in the Lord, and He shall give thee the desires of thine heart. Commit thine way unto the Lord. Trust also in Him, and He shall bring it to pass.
Amen. That it is a walk of faith, folks. That's all it is to it. It's not a walk. I'm guilty of believing and up, but then I start feeling doubts. Anybody ever doubt besides me? I have to back up and say, Father, forgive me. You know, I'm just a man. It says, everyone that is proud in heart, now pay attention, everyone that's proud in heart is an abomination to the Lord. Uh-huh. Though hand join in hand, he shall not be unpunished. Although they all agree together and hold hands, the wicked shall be punished. Mm-hmm. They may outnumber thousands to one as far as their opinion against God, the Word of God. But payday's coming, people. It's coming. We'll get started. We have, I call them dear brothers and sisters and friends in the Lord out of Arizona, Gary and Donna Roby, who are so faithful every weekend to go out in front of colleges and in churches even, and put up signs trying to get people to understand what abortion's all about, is murder. It's generally him and his wife only. Sometimes another guy goes with him. And he says, I pass out lots of literature. And a lot of people say, well, you know, this is good. Well, will you help us? Well, they always find an excuse not to. But this is one of the displays he puts up. And I'm proud to know him as my friend and brother.
He is.
In fact, sometimes he does it even on street corners.
Oh, yes, he does.
Mm-hmm. He just sets up someplace in the middle of a town. He just sets up shop right down the street corner.
Now, y'all knew about the trial of Amber Geiger, the one that shot the black guy by mistake in his apartment?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
Now, this was a touching time. I've never seen it before on TV, especially in a courtroom. The brother of the guy that was shot, Brant John was the brother of the guy that was shot, and his name was what was his brother's name? I lost it here. Botham John. His brother, Brant John, 18 years old. He's sitting in the witness stand, and he looked down at the lady, Amber Geiger, asked the judge, may I give her a hug?
Oh, yes.
This was so touching. He said, please let me give her a hug. And the judge, I guess, said yes, a black lady judge. He got up, walked down in front of the judge's bench, and I mean, they hugged each other so sweet. I mean, it's such a power of grace and forgiveness. The judge was crying. And after it was over with, the judge gave Geiger a Bible.
The judge
gave Judge?
Yes.
Lift the world.
One of the most powerful things I saw in my life in a courtroom.
It's on.
See, that's on video. Yeah, you can see it on video. Just go to
Really?
YouTube and watch it. Yes, it's on all the news.
You didn't tell me.
But the judge gave the Bible.
Yeah, yep. It was beautiful.
Oh.
I mean, that was one of the most touching displays of love and grace I've ever seen.
I heard it was the brother of the girl that was
It was the brother that was killed.
his Bible.
No, I don't know whose Bible it was. Judge gave it to her. I don't know where it come
Well,
from.
I heard.
But I just know that that was amazing to see them two embrace each other, a black gentleman and a white girl, and such love and grace. Praise God for that. That made me
Because
feel good.
He was attempting to bring him to the Lord.
Amen.
That was the meaning of the
God,
Bible.
he said he forgave her right on the bench. He said, "I forgive you."
Yeah.
That's powerful, Steve.
Yeah.
Wow.
Chick-fil-A has been attacked, something terrible, but that their sales have more than doubled to 10.5 billion last year.
Boy, that's good.
That is wonderful. I mean, they're backed up
Very
outside
blessed.
in the parking lot taking orders.
Very
You
blessed.
you go to the one there in Clarksburg. There's always a line and a drive around.
Well,
Yeah.
look at how many years that the sodomite's been attacking them.
Oh, yeah.
Hoping
I got
God
a
has
new
blessed
jingle.
them.
Go out of your way to Chick-fil-A.
Oh yeah, I like that. I like
I was
that.
around when they get my
You get that video sent you about the lady and eating the children?
Huh?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I sent it to you. I said, please do that ready for Saturday. You not get it?
No.
Okay. Anyway, Dan Cathy, the founder of the son of the founder of Chick-fil-A, says that they charged him of being against same-sex marriage. He said guilty as charged. And you saw the young girl get on front of the UN and other places and cry because we're destroying the earth. It's not based on fact. I mean, the scientists are saying there is no global climate emergency.
Right.
Scientists are saying it, right? But you don't hear that on TV, do you? You don't hear that in the
Fake news. Fake
And
news.
just,
Yes.
and just recently I read an article about the same girl that's also attacking Putin.
Oh, I won't doubt that.
Yeah, she's
But see, they did the same
Attacking
thing. Putin.
Putin.
Oh.
Vladimir Putin.
They had the same thing back in the first Earth Day, back in the 90s. Another young girl got up and cried in front of everybody and said, "You ruined the earth." But I'm going to read something to you. I said, please get it. You didn't get it, but you can get it next time.
But they never say anything about India or China.
No.
They never criticize them.
Now, in Paris, they're not allowed to have guns. But this guy walked into a police station with a knife and killed 4 cops before they got him. Right into that police headquarters, walked in with a knife and killed 4 cops.
Okay.
Now it's a nice fault.
No doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
He
I'll
should-
tell you what. If the guy had walked in with a knife into a gun show,
Right.
he wouldn't have got very far.
No, he wouldn't have.
No.
But the cops are armed. How can you kill 4 of them before somebody got him? In the headquarters.
Well,
They probably had a
actually,
folding knife. They couldn't get it out in time.
if they're like England's police officers do not carry guns.
Have you got any videos today, by the way? Okay. Anyway, I did call and tell you. I honestly did.
Yeah, you did.
But anyway, they carry guns in France. They had the guns on. You can see them with the guns on the
Okay.
hips.
Well, they said to England, it's just almost to the point that you can't even own a butter knife.
I believe that.
They said that on the hunting program.
I can't believe. I mean, the guy didn't even have a gun. We took out 4 with a knife. That's pretty good. I mean, he done real well for a knife.
I wonder if he ambushed them or
He walked in
direct.
just walked in the courthouse in the headquarters and went after him.
I thought it was outside.
No, I thought it was inside. It was the inside quarters. I don't know. I may read it wrong, but anyway, John Whitehead. I'm gonna have him on a radio show probably within a couple of weeks. What a powerful guy and full of common sense. He's an attorney with the Ruff Institute. He wrote an article called "Guns for Hire." No, the government shouldn't be using military to police the globe. That's the title of the article. I'll read something to you that James Madison said. Of all the enemies to public liberty, war is perhaps the most to be dreaded because it comprises and develops the germ of every other. War is a parent of armies. From these proceed debts and taxes, known instruments for bringing the many under the domination of the few. No nation could preserve its freedom in the midst of continual warfare. Guess what America's been in for a long time? Since World War II. Continual warfare.
85% of the time.
Yeah,
Since
yes.
World War II.
So
Even
this is...
before that, a lot of them wars.
I mean, our founding fathers tried to tell us these things are dangerous. Who pays any attention? After all, they were terrorists too,
But doesn't it say that, it says here then, you can read it in the words, that we are, this nation is a global empire. We are the Babylon,
We are. In time Babylon.
and our presidency are the Nebuchadnezzars of this present day.
And all empires end very badly.
Well, Russia's going to take care of that.
Only America. A Trenton, New Jersey city councilwoman is defending a colleague's use of the term Jew down. Councilman Robin Vaughn claims that when Council President Kathy McBride said the city could wait her out and Jew her down regarding a female resident owed a court judgment, she believes McBride was speaking more in reference to the negotiating, not "I hate Jews." So if you use the term Jew down, you're going to get in trouble, even though you don't mean anything against Jews, right? My nephew said in school one day that somebody got caught red-handed. He got reprimanded. That was a slight against the Native Americans.
You can't even say the word illegal alien in New York
We're going to get
City.
there in a minute. That's going to get there. The University of Virginia is asking students to stop yelling "not gay" after the words "we come from old Virginia" were always bright and gay in the school's fight song. Officials said no action will be taken against students who've been amending the lyrics to the good old song, but are seeking a voluntary commitment to help enact positive change.
Oh my God.
On and on and on it goes. Bad week for following your dreams after Gina Evans of California removed and swallowed her engagement ring while dreaming that thieves were trying to steal it.
Yeah.
When I woke up, it was not on my hand. I knew exactly where it was, says Evans, who need emergency surgery to recover the ring from intestines.
Said her husband told her to swallow it, so they wouldn't steal it.
Oh my God.
Woodstock, United Kingdom. Golden loo, stolen. Loo means toilet. The toilet titled America was part of an exhibition of works by Italian artist Marzio Catlin that had opened just 2 days earlier. The artwork was actually connected to the plumbing, using it to take care of personal business and part of the artistic experience. And when the thieves ripped it out, they caused significant damage and flooding, said Detective Inspector Jess Milan. Melted down, the 227 pounds of gold in the toilet will be worth $4 million, and experts fear it will not be recovered. Yeah, I figure not.
Yeah.
A solid gold commode.
I'm just
That'd be
curious.
cold in the morning, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but I'm just curious how somebody can carry that thing with that much weight in it.
Oh my goodness. His insanity just gets better and better. Of course, there's that Greta Thunberg, the prophet or puppet. One young lady has said that, where the world's going because of global changing. Only America. A Florida school resource officer was fired after he arrested 2 6-year-old children in separate instances. Marilyn Kirkland, a grandmother of 6-year-old Kaylee Raleigh, said that Officer Dennis Turner handcuffed her granddaughter after she had a tantrum in class, then took her to a juvenile detention center in a police car for the fingerprinting and mug shots. A literal mug shot of a 6-year-old girl, Kirkland said. How do you do that? An American Airlines flight from Alabama to Texas was grounded after 2 Muslims passengers waved at each other. Islam Abdullah says that when he greeted an acquaintance, I'm not going to try to pronounce the name, the cabin crew told him they were not comfortable and were canceling the flight. Americans said it would reach out to the 2 men to better understand their experience.
What does it say?
Quite an experience.
That in the end times, that man will just go insane.
Oh, they are, yeah. Yep. I mean,
These are-
they wave at each other and they cancel the flight.
Yeah.
What if it was said hello?
What can that be?
Good week for the hungover who are suffering from a legitimate illness, a German court ruled this week. The ruling, however, comes as a blow to the makers of over-the-counter hangover remedies who will no longer be allowed to make unsupported health claims. So being a hungover is now a legitimate illness in Germany. Bad week for toiletries after a spray can of dry shampoo that a Missouri woman left in the car on a hot day exploded, wrecked the interior, and shot up through the sunroof like a missile, landing 50 feet away. A chastened Christine DeBruck advised others to heed those warnings on products you may be using. Oh, you never know.
Blew up around the car.
For the first time, the Department of Homeland Security has added white supremacist violence to the list of priority threats. White supremacists perpetrated 39 of 50 domestic extremism-related murders in 2018, while jihadists were linked to only 1.
So what do they classify as white supremacists?
Probably me and you.
Yeah.
White,
Truth.
Yeah.
Anyone who speaks the
Truth
truth.
sounds like hate.
Yeah, truth is the enemy.
Now this, I'm just going to show you. I truly don't believe Epstein hung himself.
I don't
No,
know.
I don't either.
I don't know he's even dead.
Right.
But here's a picture.
be.
The guy on my right, and be on your right too, is the one on the gurney, and the picture of Epstein right beside it. They don't even look the same.
Nope.
Nope. No way.
Okay, and this is again a picture of the guy on the gurney.
Could have been a crisis actor.
It could have been. You never know. I don't think he's dead, but I do know that he had a lot of stuff to put out on people.
He's over in Israel sucking martinis down on the beach.
Who knows?
No
That's
doubt.
where he is.
You know who Sheila Jackson Lee is, right?
Yeah.
No.
The black congressman
Congresswoman.
from Texas, a real idiot. Sheila Jackson Lee confuses AR-15 for 10 moving boxes and a heavy machine gun. Introducing her new control legislation today, Congress creator Sheila Jackson Lee proved conclusively that she's just too uninformed to go anywhere near the subject. She claims to have held an AR-15 in my hand, which weighed as much as 10 boxes that you might be moving. How many's ever held an AR-15? They weigh about what, 5-6 pounds?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've shot an M16.
She also, same thing, she also claimed the rifle fired a 50 caliber round. And that these kinds of bullets need to be licensed and do not need to be on the street. If Lee wants to ban 90 pound 50 caliber AR-15s, I say, why not? While she's at it, Lee could put a ban on flying cars, unicorns, doing 7 impossible things before breakfast. If Lee wants to get heavy 50 caliber machine guns off the streets, well, first you're going to get some on the streets. I mean, this is ridiculous.
Yeah. Insanity.
Well, it's amazing how much these people talk about this stuff that they don't know what they're talking about. And they don't.
No, they don't.
They don't have any idea what they're talking about.
In 1962, you could order guns from mail order catalog by simply sending in a check.
Done that.
There were no background checks, no license required, and no restrictions. Almost anyone could get a gun. There were also 0 mass shootings. So it's not about the guns, it's about the people.
That's right.
Surely we can understand. In 62, we still taught morality in the schools. They still taught the Bible in school. They still had the 10 Commandments in school. They had prayer in school. No one got shot in school.
They had moral programs on television.
They did. They certainly
You
did.
could bring your guns to school.
And we did bring guns to school.
I
I
did.
remember bringing my hunting rifle
Show and tell?
And no one.
in the car,
Oh.
go hunting after school.
I did a show and tell with a German Mauser.
Steve Slanger, a little short guy from Marville, just an old dude. Brad Dad's M1 from World War II. M1 Grand, the show did, was just taller than he was. But anyway, that was allowed back then.
Yeah.
This says, well, I was going to turn all my guns over to the government. But I did a background check and none of them were mentally stable.
Very true.
Oh, gracious. Trump Farm Secretary says no guarantee small farms will survive. This is sad. In Wisconsin, in the last 2 years, 1,654 dairies went out of business. In one state. It says that the legislature had to pass a bill, a vote of the United States last month to spend an additional $200,000 to help struggling farmers deal with depression and mental health problems and even suicide. No one works harder than a farmer.
I was going to say, the farmers are the kind of people that the New World Order views as an enemy. Get rid of them because they have traditional values. They believe in hard work. They don't want something for nothing.
Right.
So they're not going to bite at the bait that the New World Order's putting out. So it fits their agenda.
Farmers are survivors.
But 1,654 little farmers. Now these people work for you, who knows how many years. Out at 4:30 in the morning trying to milk cows in the wintertime. And it's cold Wisconsin, believe me.
Mm-hmm.
Out there trying to take care of the family. And hardly made it the way it was, working 12, 16 hours a day. And now there's going out of business.
And even if they wanted aid, you can be sure they ain't getting it. It's all those corporate farms that are getting
Oh, yeah,
all
no, that's part of it. They're being bought out, yes.
Well, last year I worked for a guy up in Elkins. Prior to him, he was the last dairy farmer in this county And just a few years later, there was 30. I think he said 31 dairy farmers. He was the last one last year, and they're still going, but he's barely making it.
Well, those are dairy over Camus. They were next to Somerville. Groves Dairy. Dick, you remember them, don't you?
Yeah, we used to get milk off.
They were there for years and years. You're not
We
going
used to deliver milk to your door.
Americans spent more on taxes in 2018 than on food, clothing, and health care combined.
Oh my golly.
Now, this is average, and believe me, our state is not average income, but I'm just quite honest with you, we're way below average. But anyway, in 2018, according to Table R1, American consumer units spent an average of $9,031.93 on federal income taxes, $5,023.73 on Social Security taxes, which is called deductions, you understand, that's all, you know. But still tax. $2,284.62 on state and local income taxes, $21.99.80 on property taxes, and $77.85 on what BOS calls other taxes. The combined payments average American consumer made for these five categories is $18,617.93.
Who needs locusts? We got taxes.
More than they only spent less than $15,000 on food, clothing, and health care. They paid more in taxes than they did on all three of those.
Wow.
Would you call that a feudal system?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
When they take more than you can do to take care of yourself, would that be considered on the verge of slavery?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Jane from Pennsylvania told me that her and her husband pay almost $3,000 a year just on school tax. And school tax and property tax are separate from each other.
Wow. You know, we talk about this.
It's
And
like that in New York too.
we talk about this, and it really is sad that this is really a natural fact in America today. But 95% of the people just go along with it. They never think about it. They just do it because they've been trained that way.
It's called compliance.
It is. And they're taught from the time they're born
To be compliant.
in the public school system
Good
to be compliant.
That's
Right?
Don't think out of the box because you'll be dangerous.
Just do what you're told, follow instructions, you'll be all right. After all, we're going to take care of you from the womb to the tomb. You got to trust us.
Well, if you make it out of the womb.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Yeah. The 4,000 a day being murdered, yeah.
Now, I want you to listen to this. Now, this is a fact. I know people my age are still working full time just trying to make it. Anybody besides me? I mean, working really.
I feel
still
like
working.
I'm working for you.
You are working. I'm talking about for a profit though. Feel right now. People that I know some people personally that are still working jobs. You know, I mean, really. And we all know the preacher's wife. The preacher passed away a few months ago, and she had to go to work because they were waiting for the rapture, and it didn't happen. So they didn't have anything put back for the future. So she went to work. She's 60-some years old.
Mm-hmm.
The new realities of work and retirement. Bob Orozo, 89, leads his fitness class at YMCA in Laguna Niguel, California. He teaches 11 classes each week at the facility. Orozo may be an outlier, still working at 89, but statistics show that there may be more people like him in the near future. About 1 in 4 adults aged 65 and older is now in the workforce. Bob Orozo barks out instructions like a drill sergeant. The 40 or so older adults in the class follow his lead, stretching and bending and marching in place. It goes like this for nearly an hour. 89-year-old Ozo said, doing every move he asked of his class. He does that in each of 11 classes he teaches every week at the YMCA in Laguna, California. I probably will work until somebody stops me. He may be an outlier, they say, but still working at 89, but statistics show that there may be more people like him in the near future. About 1 in 4 adults 65 and older are still in the workplace. That number is expected to increase, making it the fastest growing group of workers in the country.
Wow.
Well, you know,
Did you hear what I said?
Yeah.
65 will be the fastest growing group of workers. Where's the young people? What are they doing?
They're on the cell phones.
Yeah.
One drug addicts.
well, I know if I retire today, that means I'm retired of government housing, government food stamps, government Medicare, everything in government to take care of me because there's no way that a couple today who's retired can exist.
Well, you'd be better off if you go to Mexico, come back across the border, and you'll get more.
You're being illegal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Deal with. Yeah.
By the way, a lot of these expats with the Mexico, the Mexican banks are seizing their money. They can't get it anymore. So they're losing their place in Mexico too now too. So banks are corrupt all over the world, people.
Mm-hmm.
They ain't just here, okay?
That's why they're called banksters.
Car dealers, now I didn't know this. I wondered, because I know some car dealers, I know them pretty well. And they're telling me the truth. They sell a new car, they generally make about $1,000 profit on selling a new car. Okay? I thought, well, How do you pay your overhead? You must sell, 200 a month, easy, 200 grand. I mean, how do you pay this big? They have
Lot, there's big lights.
but they all the
Advertising.
cars you got to pay tax on all the time, and
Yeah.
they're sitting there, and all the workers. How do you handle that? I never got in detail with them, but I found out how it works. This car dealers make more profit on loans than on selling cars. I didn't know this, but it makes sense.
More money on interest.
America's middle class can't afford his cars, and that's the gospel truth. A new Jeep could go $50,000 in some of these Jeeps. A new truck, 80 to 100,000.
Yeah.
Phew, yes.
I mean, my goodness, people, that's worth my whole house and property. A surge in 7-year auto loans rate provides all the evidence you need. Walk into the auto dealership these days, you might walk out with a 7-year car loan. Not me. But anyway, that means monthly payments that last well past when the brake pads give out, and potentially beyond the car gets traded in for a new one. About a third of auto loans for new vehicles taken in the first half of 2018 had terms of longer than 6 years, according to credit reporting from Experian PLC. A decade ago, that number was less than 10%. Now listen to that. In 10 years, it went up that much. We have to finance them that long. Incomes have risen at a sluggish pace in the past decade, but car prices have grown rapidly. A lending machine is revved up in response, making it possible for more Americans to procure a vehicle by spreading the debt over a longer period. Now listen to this. Now listen. Wall Street investors snap up these loans, which are bundled into bonds. Dealers now make more money on the loans their customers take in than on the cars they sell.
Wow.
Could you imagine the payment of $600-700 a month for 6 years?
No, I can't.
Could you imagine buying a vehicle that is more expensive than your house and land?
If I pay that much for a vehicle, I'm going to eat in it and I'm going to sleep in it. This is going to be my home.
My house payment I was paying for was $300 some dollars a month, and I stretched to that sometimes. That's what I paid for the house, $300 some bucks a month. Took me 20 some years to do it, but I done it.
It's just like I ordered something online and I could have got it for free, plus had a $50 credit if I signed up for their credit card. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So they're pushing credit, and it's because of the people's stupidity. It goes back to the people themselves. Look in the mirror, country. When you think about government, when you think about all this, it's the
Sure.
people.
It is.
People are the good. We're supposed to keep them in check. They work for us.
But that's it. When they started feeding us, Phil, we quit doing that.
I went
We
down,
kept back having to feed us.
I went down to Busy Beaver the other day. They had Flex Seal on sale for $5 a can, and it's only about $13 a can. Now I got 3 cans, put it up there. She said it was $28 and something. I said, no, it's $5 a can. Said if you got a card. I don't want a card.
Yeah.
They said, don't take me. I said, I don't want your card. You just keep this Flex Seal and put it up. And I walked out the store.
See, I have a card.
On it goes. Always something. This nation runs on debt. Y'all realize that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what keeps new cars being sold. Hardly anyone pay cash for a car. So they borrow money, which borrows. And actually, when you borrow money, you don't get any money. They put digits into your account, and you write a check on a piece of paper, and that saves money.
No one's paying, right?
No, they're not.
No.
They're passing debt
Except
along.
your
Passing debt.
future. Your future's paying.
The bank's making a killing because they're not giving you anything to get more money back than give you in the first place, right? But they're not giving you anything. But it makes your assets grow so that they can load more money. Oh boy, that's a good racket. Eating meat could be banned like smoking. This is in England right now. It says top barrister as he calls for a new crime of ecocide. Eating meat can be banned like smoking, one of the foremost barristers had predicted, as he called for the offense of ecocide to be introduced to prosecute those who damage the nature on a massive scale. Michael Mansfield, QC, warned that the farming of livestock for meat was destroying the planet and called for legislation to criminalize those who cause global warming and the willful destruction of wildlife. In a message delivered at the launch of the Vegan Now campaign, which encourages people to stop eating meat and dairy, Mansfield said he had a single message to make ecocide a crime. I think when we look at the damage eating meat is doing to the planet, it is not preposterous to oppose that. So eating meat in England can be a crime, and if it gets over there, it'll be here.
Did they ban pinto beans yet?
Sweden makes it legal for jihadist migrants to leave with the intent of committing terror, then come back. I'm serious. In an interview below, that has confirmed that in the reason for for much of the violent behavior. Let me start beginning here. We've already read about the escalating migrant violence in Sweden. No-go zones, and many have posted that the so-called multicultural invasion can be chalked up to religious beliefs. In the interview below, a jihadi confirmed that this is a reason for much of the violent behavior. He himself wants what is best for Sweden. Now pay attention. And he believes what is best for Sweden, Allah rules. Anything fly in the face of Swedish values. In other words, we'll get along with you just fine, just follow our rules. I believe that Allah rules should prevail over all laws. A source in Sweden confirms that this video, it shows a video here, but he believes that the number of radicalized individuals is likely to be higher than 300. According to the video, Sweden recently changed its laws, making it illegal for migrants to travel abroad with the intention of committing acts of terrorism. You read it, and that's legal. Then the migrants are allowed to return to Sweden.
Sounds like a hole in the wall game, doesn't it?
It does, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You know, if we were going to write science fiction, we couldn't think this stuff up.
Yeah.
Penn State professor, social credit will shift law in the West from Constitution to analytics and algorithms.
Yeah.
Now listen, this is for real. Professor Larry Backer of Penn State University writes in a 2018 paper that the resistance to social credit systems in the West can be dissolved when the masses are socialized as a collective. And folks, we are there. Mm-hmm. And the great culture management machinery of Western society develop a narrative in which such activity is naturalized within Western culture. A 2018 paper written by prominent law professor Larry Backer of Penn State discussed the ways which a social credit system can be implemented in the West. Backer writes that the shift in law with this system will change the focus of public law from constitution and rule of law to analytics and algorithms. In the paper, now that's the mark of the beast. You understand that, don't you?
So that's saying that the system will actually create its own laws.
Own laws, yeah, and
that we
yes.
have to be submitted to. So the machine is making the decisions for
AI
us.
make decisions for us, and we ain't got to do all this shit. There's more coming. In a paper entitled "Next Generation Law: Data-Driven Governance and Accountability Based on Regulatory System in the West and Social Credit Regimes in China," Backer described moves to social credit in the West as fractured, but gives guidance on how societal norms could be steadily pushed to accept this system. Backer proposed that the great cultural management machinery of the West normalize the idea of social credit and sharing private data. Backer writes, but it is possible to socialize the masses, or even mass democracy as a collective, to embrace this pattern of data disclosure beyond these immediately self-serving closed-loop systems. Would it be possible for the state to develop systems for the enforcement of laws, criminal and regulatory, that depends on intelligence by inducing the masses to serve as positive contributors of data necessary for enforcement of regulation? The answer in Western liberal democracies may depend on the ability of the great culture management machinery of Western society is television, movies, and other related media developing a narrative in which activity is naturalized within Western culture. So we're seeing a mind control system set up. And God help us, people my age, but definitely younger people, are all into this. No one wants to be a free thinker any longer. No one wants to go against the grain as a mass, as a whole. Mm-hmm. And we're going to see this social credit thing come to America. It's already here. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You say the wrong word in public, mm-hmm. You're a hater, or you're arrested. What am I? You seriously? You say the wrong word. I'll get this made up. Marsh and I went up to see a great aunt of ours, a great cousin of ours in Kaiser this past Friday. It's about a 3.5 hour drive up there from here. But I stopped at Flatwoods to get some gas. Gas is 24 cents cheaper than it is in Eddie, so I stopped to get some gas. Got out of the car, and I noticed a couple got out of the car beside me. The guy got out from behind the steering wheel, just a little guy, I thought, just a tiny little fella. Walked up, and he's holding hands with his girlfriend, which is taller than he was. And I thought, that's not normally the way you see things all the way around. Mm-hmm. But I walked in, anything about, walked in to pay for the gas, go to the bathroom, and he walked out of the woman's bathroom. It was a woman. Looked like a man. Got gas at Go-Mart in you saved in Somerville Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Was a Friday. I mean, it always go by so fast. Walked in, there's a woman there. She's about 6'3". I mean, huge, big hair, dress. Walked around in front of one woman.
You know, if you think about it, Butch, the reason for a wedding ring is so that people will know, like, whether you're available or not.
Oh
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
And that was a reason for men to look like men and women to look like women. You knew what you were dealing with.
Sure.
You know, now
You have no idea.
you have no idea. It's you just guess. Well, you know, eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
I went to a funeral
You know, do
yesterday.
like at your Crocodile Dundee, reach down and grab him by the crotch.
Had to find out.
There was a woman, man dressed up like a woman.
Went to a funeral yesterday in Richwood. Got they're dressed in a dress, bald head up front, but look like a woman, dressed like a woman. I'll see cops now confiscate loose coins from cars for safety reasons.
What is it?
I'll see cops, Australian cops, confiscate loose coins from cars for safety reasons.
So if I have coins
In the floor, whatever.
in my
Yep.
Console,
what do they call it? Console?
console,
Yeah, console.
cup holder.
Or your ashtray, whatever it should be, you know.
Oh man.
You
Mine's
go
full
search
of
your
coins.
car before you.
Well, I'll read this to you. New South Wales police have come up with the most bizarre excuse to rob your money I've ever heard of. They now claim that driver safety is the main reason for the new initiative to confiscate whatever coins you have in the car. They have the audacity to claim that loose coins within a car are a safety hazard. They claim that a driver may perhaps bend down, pick up a coin, and get in an accident. What's next? To confiscate your phone and then sell it back to you after you've done you're done driving. Australia has become perhaps the most aggressive country in the Western culture to hunt down its own citizens for money. Now you pay attention to this, people. This is for real. They follow school children and then investigate how the parents are paying for the school. The Australian Tax Office has applied for access to everything to hunt for money. They want access to phone calls, emails, post, and SMS text messages. Mm-hmm. Australians could face a 2-year jail sentence and fines of $22,200 under proposed laws that limit the use of cash to $10,000. A move some groups argue would create an Orwellian state by giving authority greater control over people's finances. Now pay attention that this is the government's new slogan in Australia. This is the government's new slogan: cash is for criminals.
Ooh. Ooh.
Do you see where it's heading?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and people get mad if they're in line and someone's going through the change purse to make the exact change. It's like, you know, they're taking up my time spending cash. Why aren't they using a credit card?
Yep.
China's new super camera can instantly pinpoint specific targets among tens of thousands of people. China come up with a new camera. It's a 500 megapixel cloud camera. I don't understand all that. It's a system in China that they can pick you out instantly in a crowd of thousands of people. Just by your facial recognition or your eyes, or different ways they can do it. This isn't. What do you want to bet that this ain't gonna be here if it's not already here?
Mm-hmm.
Probably already here.
Google's working on that, ain't it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They're working on facial recognition.
Google eyes.
Brain chip created for U.S. soldiers to take out enemies with their minds. Now this is for real stuff, folks. I'm not making it up. Soldiers, the way they got now that they can fly. That they did the test this already. One guy flew 3 planes at one time. One of them did tricks with, the other who just flew alongside it with his mind. I'm not making it up. It's already here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to find. Last year, U.S. Military Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency launched a new generation of warplanes, which are flown by pilots sitting hundreds of miles away with an implant in the brain. I'm not making any of this stuff up. I wish I were making it up, but I'm not making it up.
The Air Force, they're at the front of that because they want pilots who can control the plane so quickly that it has to be done through the brain because they don't have motor skills or motor time.
They don't have time to react.
The Air Force, they're really on the cutting edge of a lot of things, more so than the Army and Navy. The Air Force is really into intelligence. They're into what's this called now? Space Command or Space?
Oh yeah.
So
Space Force.
Yeah, Space Force.
Silicon Valley's final frontier for mobile payments, the neoliberal takeover of the human body. Ditching credit cards for facial recognition removes the last physical barrier between our bodies and corporate America. Aram Shirik recently went grocery shopping at a Whole Foods market in his hometown of Washington, D.C. Realized he had left his wallet at home. He had no cards and no cash, but he had no reason to worry, at least not about paying for the food. I used my iPhone to pay and unlocked it with my face, he said. That's when it struck him. We are just one small step away from paying with our bodily features alone. With an in-store facial recognition machines, he wouldn't even need his smartphone. Shinrick, associate professor of communication studies at American University, said he got a glimpse of the future that day, no doubt. Legacy Systems held DHS biometrics programs back, not anymore. This is what I talk about. It's a group. It's a something called Homeland Advanced Recognition Technology System, or HART, H-A-R-T, where they're not going to have you on physical computers. They're going to put you up in the cloud so you can track anywhere in the world at any time. Now, I don't understand the cloud. I just know it's out there somewhere, and all this information is put up. Phil, can you explain to me how the cloud works?
No, and I don't think Jesus is going to come out of that cloud.
I can explain a little bit about it. The cloud system is that it's set up by the mega companies. I use the Yandex for my email, but I have a cloud. It's like when I do my broadcast, and then when I entered it, and I entered it I sent it through the cloud, like to Kevin Gallagher at his studio, and then it gets put up. But I also have personally my own cloud with all my documents are stored in.
But where's the cloud?
It's just a term
Belgium,
for
ain't it?
that's a
It's
term for the all-inclusive network.
Right.
It's the network. Okay.
Wow.
Isn't it that supercomputer in Belgium
Oh, I
called
know.
the Beast?
Well,
That's part of it,
It's
sure.
not.
That's
No,
part of it.
it's an amalgam of all of them. So
Right.
it's not just one thing, it's one place. It's the network. It's
Okay.
kind of like our brain cells all work together and communicate.
Mine
So
used to.
This what?
Mine used to. Former Google CEO Eric Schmidt believes biology is the next frontier in computing.
Mm-hmm.
Former CEO Eric Schmidt said biology is a golden period, making it perfect for tech. Schmidt said data from human eyes will generate new algorithms. He also said computing and biology need each other now more than ever. Brain inserts and carbon-absorbing bacteria aren't just the fantasy of Silicon Valley rich as executives. They're also part of a larger hope to advance artificial intelligence and computing efforts. Biology will undoubtedly fuel computing in coming years, former Google CEO, current technical advisor Eric Schmidt said at a conference called SynBio Beta in San Francisco Monday. Taking in biology, which I'd always viewed as squishy and analog, and turning something that can be digitally manipulated is an enormous accelerator. So your body will be confused. The old Star Trek movie I talked about many times, where the man evolved with the computer. It says the next step of man's evolution was computer and man combined. Here we go, folks.
Oh, like you're talking about the Borg?
Yeah,
Where they say
yeah.
resistance is futile.
well, the Borg also is called the collective.
Okay. A little creepy Russian company starts mass production of humanoid robots that can look like you. And this is a picture one right here. It looks like God that had it made for him.
And I bet we can download our brains into them.
Probably. Says a Russian startup has launched a serial production of unique lifelike robots that can not only look like the way you want and mimic facial expressions, but are also able to work for you. They're going to be able to work in your house, work at your place where you work. They'll be able to be administrator or an office employee. They'll be able to greet visitors, communicate with them, do all kinds of things. They'll be recharged every 8 hours. This is the first humanoid android in the world that not only mimics the human appearance, but is also able to integrate into business processes. We've already created one prototype, and now we will release a series. Now this is for real stuff, folks. The Probobot has already sold dozens of talking robots in Russia and beyond, with robots working in 35 countries as administrators, promoters, consultants, guides, and concierges, replacing or supporting human employees. Robot maker plans to deploy up to 1,000 resource robots throughout Europe. This is for real stuff. Now there'll be a time coming when you can tell from real people. You mark my words.
Already, when they talk about the bots on the internet, in other words, you could have a conference or a call-in show, and the AI could join that show and be able to pass themselves off as a real person, and you think you're talking to a real person, and it isn't.
That is so
In other words,
spooky.
it's a computer brain that can
Absolutely.
function
Yeah.
as a person. So, and since you can't see him, you know, just by sound, you can't tell the difference. I mean, they could take my sound, my voice, they could synthesize it and make it sound just like me. But when they make them look like people, that's even the next step, you know.
Well, what happens when you have a power shortage?
Well, you did
They
that.
won't be-
I don't know.
Well, they eat people, so don't worry about it.
Oh yeah.
So Ian Green, puberty blockers linked to thousands of deaths. Now listen to this sad story. Drugs that are being used as a puberty blocker in gender-confused youth have been linked to tens of thousands of serious reactions and thousands of deaths, as well as other serious medical issues, according to the FDA. The FDA has documented over 41,000 adverse reactions suffered by patients who took lipopride acetate, known as Zupron, which is used as a hormone blocker. There have been 25,645 reactions considered serious, including 6,379 deaths. So the young people that are trying to change their sex, they're confused. Remember, 41,000.
Well, some of them aren't confused anymore; they're dead.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Well, they know where they're at, and they know what gender they are where they're at.
Now, Steve, I don't want you to plan on moving, okay? But there's 6 states now where women can legally go topless.
I read an article on
You-
that.
Should we say Steve's available if there are any women?
Yes, Steve's available.
But the article I read on these states that are doing it, it's not so much the women, it's the transgenders.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt that. They wouldn't
It's
say
the
yeah.
transgender
Yeah.
men that still want to go topless because they think that they're a woman.
But a woman, a city in Colorado, I'm trying to find here,
Fort Collins.
Fort Collins fought this, but they couldn't afford to keep fighting it, so they lost it. But in Utah, Colorado, Kansas, New Mexico, Oklahoma, I mean, they can go topless legally and nobody can stop them.
But it's transgender women that want that.
I can remember that time. And it's so bad now that Jonathan Van Ness is a star of a television series, Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. He has HIV and he's proud of it. Queer Eye, he said he's a member of the beautiful HIV positive community.
What the
He's
heck?
positively
They take
crazy.
He's positively
of
dead.
He's nuts.
anything and destroy it.
Oh yes,
Queer guy, what was that? Queer guy, straight guy?
Queer
Is that-
Queer Eye for the
guy
Straight
for-
Guy.
That's like whatever when we were younger was something good and something, you know.
UK's National Health Service now offering gender transition services to children as young as 3. Do you see hell going to be paid for this?
But now remember,
I
Bush,
see-
they
I see
are
parents-
adults in children's bodies. That's the new way that
I'm
the
sure.
psychologists look at
sure.
it. So if you're an adult, and just because you're 3 years old, you know, you really are just an adult in a child's body. So you actually
Yeah.
can
But-
make a good decision.
But I see mommy that had a little boy, and she really wanted a little girl, and I've already read stories about this too on the news, that they're transgendering their own children.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
For themselves, for their own.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for their own selfishness.
Denver drag show for children endures in many demonstrations. Finally, some people stand on the street and say, we don't want this happening in our country. But, of course, the cops had to divide the two groups because the transgenders could do their show anyway, and they can't stop them because it's legal. Now, folks, when you legalize immorality, what's that lead to?
Death.
More immorality and hell on earth. Period.
And this is not just this nation, it's going worldwide.
Sure it is. But America is the leading country.
Oh, it's us who's making it happen.
Washington, drag queen does strip tease for kids at King County Library.
Ah,
At a library.
At a library. And I'm saying this very nicely. Where the hell are the parents?
Where the hell's church?
why is not the church in the front row blocking everything?
Why would a parent bring their
That's the whole
child to that
point, exactly.
library?
Louder with Crowder's Courtney Kershaw asked a very pointed question about what you are about to see. How does this promote reading? Maybe I'm just an idiot, but how does a man dressed as a woman dressed as a slutty clown performing a strip-like dance, thus triggering one's gag reflex, promote books? Someone explained it to me like I'm 6. I just failed to see the connection between twerking weirdos and inspiring our youth to read. Like this walking freak stick, he performed a strippy strip dance while blank equipped, I won't say the word, for a group of young people penis equipped, tied to the front. A group of young people and their parents who deserve a stern talking to. Not a yelling at no, a quiet, close-in, chilling lecture. The kind your mom gave you that sent you sliding right out of your. Anyway, according to this tweet, this happened in the King County, Washington, home of Starbucks, Microsoft, and heroin needles in the streets. This pervert's up dancing, doing a strip show for children, and the parents take their children there to see them. Almost, it ain't the children's fault.
I was just going to say, and we're looking at it from being third generation.
Yeah,
It's what about the second to the
Exactly.
80s? That is.
judge won't dismiss case, may punish David Denline for exposing Planned Parenthood baby parts sale. This is what Jonathan Alexander shared with their representing this group. This guy, they were exposed. They took a video of the Planned Parenthood selling baby parts. The preliminary hearing for undercover journalist David Denline concluded this week with the judge ruling that he was engaged in criminal activity irrespective of journalistic status. Denline could be sent to jail for the so-called crime exposing Planned Parenthood's alleged illegal sales of aborted baby body parts and alleged murder of born live infants. The Fellow Center for Medical Progress investigator Sandra Meir faced multiple felony charges for an invasion of privacy in California.
Let me explain something, Butch. There's a term called misprision of felony. If you know a felony is going on and you do not expose it, that is a felony in itself.
In and of itself.
Misprision of felony. So therefore, this whole thing's upside down. I mean, I hope they appeal that.
I'm sure they will.
Yeah, but the trial's taking place in California. And
Yeah.
Troy is one that's been fighting it a lot too, because Planned Parenthood took him to court because of this thing about the videos. They're calling it racketeering, and he's looking at this in every way he can. He says, it's been so much fraud going on with the court systems, they're not letting us go.
Well, I tell you, I was really impressed with Jonathan.
Yeah.
Y'all were too, I'm sure.
By the way, he contacted me. I told him about the arbitration. I didn't explain it. I said, we need to get together, and he said, we'll do that soon.
Well, that group, since I've got to know him and I know more about the group, Liberty Council is a fine group of support. I support
Oh, yeah.
it. British court, now pay attention, got 2 articles left, got 5 minutes. British court is in transgender case. Bible belief is incompatible with human dignity.
What?
Human depravity, maybe.
That statement came in a case involving Dr. David McArith, a devout Christian who had worked as an emergency doctor for the National Health Service for 26 years. He said he was fired from his job because he refused to call a biological man a woman. The court's ruling stated belief in Genesis 1:27, lack of belief in transgenderism, and conscientious objection to transgenderism, in our judgment, are incompatible with human dignity and conflict with the fundamental rights of others, especially here transgender individuals. The court added, insofar as those beliefs are part of his wider faith also does not satisfy the requirement of being worthy of respect in a democratic society, not incompatible with human dignity, and not in conflict with the fundamental rights of others. In other words, the Bible cannot be taught because it will not fit human culture.
Here's Genesis 1:27. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them.
Amen. Phil, we still okay?
Yeah.
Now this is the last one. I sent Phil the video, he didn't get it, so I'll just read a 2-part of it to you. AOC, Alexander Cortez, had a lady stand up in front of her meeting. Phil, please get this. I sent it to you. We must start eating babies to save the planet.
Mm-hmm.
President Donald Trump tweeted out Thursday, AOC is a whack job, after a video surfaced of one of the Democratic New York Representative Alexander Cortez supporters talking about eating babies. During a town hall on climate change in New York's Thursday, while Osceola Cortez's supporters stood up to ask Congressman a question. The woman went into a rant about eating babies, adding that the world only has a few months left. After the event, Trump's son, well, I won't just want to get all that, but this woman actually got up. You can watch this, about 2 or 3 minute speech on the floor, saying that we only have months to go for the world's ruin. She said we could bomb Russia and we still have too many people left. We've got to start eating the children. Took off her jacket, held out a t-shirt, said, eat your children. I'm serious. And I hope we get to see it today, but Phil got busy. We'll get it next time perhaps. Can't we, Phil, maybe?
Yep.
Eat your children. Now, folks, that is demonic. that is Baal worship, that is heathenistic. There's no words I can use to describe that. And this woman stood up in this meeting of a so-called congresswoman in front of dozens of people and walked out, free as a bird, with nobody saying anything to her that I know of, that she's insane. She's demonically possessed. But I'm going to tell you this, I'm going to shut up then. America is demonically possessed.
Totally.
Did I stutter?
Totally.
America is demonically possessed. Read Revelation 18, you'll find it right there. America, end time Babylon, is demonically possessed, and all hell's going to break loose one day, and the church is still left here, according to the Bible, will be taken out. Not raptured, killed. Is that Revelation 13 says that?
By the beast.
Yes. This is coming, folks, and it's coming because the church in this nation for at least 100 years has done nothing to stop it. Back in this little bit with a whole lot more important things to feel, don't y'all go away.